Cool.
Hey, and welcome back to another Crossing Conventions where we talk about things we want in Animal Crossing because we are needy and we like things. So I have with me Chuy from ChuyPlays.
Hello.
If you didn't know, Chuy also has a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel. Is there any other channels or things we should know about?
Twitter, I guess.
There you go. So all of those links will be down there. It is officially January, kind of early still in January, but not like too early as of recording. And we have potentially a new update coming out of Pave. That was a big one that people have been talking about a lot, I think.
hmm
Obviously, everybody's still waiting for Brewster. So I guess we can probably start with those two and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So obviously, the big one, Brewster, is like something that everybody's dying for. We have our champagne we can hold, so I really want to carry around a coffee cup. But I don't know if do you think Brewster would have his own building?
Um, okay, I've kind of talked about this before, but I think the funny thing with this Animal Crossing game is just like the amount of freedom we have is really great, but I feel like it also tends to overload our islands a little bit
Mm-hmm.
too much, and it pushes the Switch a little too far, and you start to get a lot of pop in, a lot of lag, frame
Yeah.
rate drops, and everything. So ever since I saw like really crowded islands, I've been thinking we're probably not going to get any new buildings. What I think would happen instead is that the museum is once again the home for the cafe.
Mm-hmm. Like in the old games.
Yeah, kind of like the old games, a bit of a callback to the original Roost and everything. Personally, I think it's going to be stuck in the back of the fossil exhibit. Which is gonna be a pain to get to, but I've come up with a workaround. I
Okay.
think there will be a side door added to the museum that will take you straight
Oh,
down to that section.
that would be really cool.
Yeah, just because I feel like, where I think they would put it would literally be like 3 rooms deep into the museum, which is it's gonna be too far, too
Mm.
inconvenient for people, and the reason I think it's gonna be 3 rooms deep, I think it's gonna be stuck in the fossil exhibit, and specifically, it's gonna, like, double as a room for, like, gyroids to be displayed as well.
Mm. Yeah, because Brewster loves gyroids. It's like a known thing from
Mhm.
all the previous games he's been in.
Yeah. If you walk up to him and talk to him about gyroids and city folk specifically, like he would actually store all of your gyroids for you too. So you had a way to collect them and keep track of them, which was very unique to every other game.
Mm-hmm.
But in New Leaf, the really cool thing was like he had his own special Brewster
Gyroid.
gyroid.
Yeah, that one was so cool. That was like the only gyroid I really cared about.
Yeah, they're the best ones.
I always just used to sell them because I was like they're too noisy, but they make a lot of money. So I was excited when it rained because then I could just get quick money.
Yeah.
But now that they're gone, I actually kind of miss them a little bit. So it's like, well,
hmm
I might use them again if we ever get them back. But I do like the idea of a gyroid exhibit.
hmm
Yeah, like you said, if it's in the back of the museum near where the fossils are, because there's that door that's there that has like the rope off or whatever,
hmm
that would be a good entry point to that part of the museum. And then with that door outside, that would take care of the need for the cafe,
hmm
like entrance. So you know what? I was really disappointed with the thought of it being in the museum just because it would take so long to get there and I would buy my coffee cup and then never go back.
hmm
But I actually really like your plan. I'm going to call it your plan, but I just want it to be the plan. So now you've put this sense of hope in my brain, and I'm gonna just want it. And then if we don't get it, I'm just gonna be like, Chewy's idea was so good.
I think this is a good workaround. Obviously, I would hope that it would get its own building
Mm.
and be really cute and everything. But yeah, I just feel like unless we get maybe a Switch Pro, maybe it's not even till the next iteration of Animal Crossing that consoles are a little bit stronger for Nintendo. I
Yeah.
just feel like the most convenient way to keep our islands from blowing up from all the lag is to, put it in there. But on top of that, like the gyroid exhibit thing, one I'm running out of things to collect in the museum. I'm down to like a couple diving creatures and artwork,
Mm.
basically, and then I'm done. So, like, I want something else to put there. But then also, if you remember the upstairs of the museum in New Leaf,
Oh, where you got to make your own exhibits?
yeah, exactly. I actually used those to make my own gyroid exhibits. So I would just collect them and put them there.
Those were always really fun because you could make, there were 4 rooms, so you could make different themes. For anyone who hasn't played New
Hmm.
Leaf, you would unlock Celeste's floor of her museum, and Celeste would have like these kind of extra exhibits, and you could decorate them, kind of like you can decorate the inside of your house. And so when we had like Nintendo items, I made a Nintendo room. When we had like the Zelda items, I made like a fake Temple of Time. And then in Chewie's case, you could put gyroids and stuff. So it was really cool to have like one, an extra spot for storage if you needed storage, but two, like make your own kind of exhibits.
Yeah, and I'll say I want to make a quick note here. Celeste got completely downgraded in that game.
Yeah.
Her just running a little gift shop in the upstairs of the museum, not great.
Yeah, I kind of like her better outside, like stargazing and stuff, but I do miss her little thing in Wild World where
Hmm.
you could make like little constellations in the sky with her, and it was like
Yeah,
really
the
cute.
observatory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one day maybe
Yeah, I
she'll
mean we
get
have
back
such
to
a
that.
nice view of the sky now, and the stars kind of like move on their own. It would be cool to see them panning across.
It's the visuals of this game
They're so
are the
pretty.
best.
They're so good. There's a reason
Yeah.
there's so many Instagram Animal Crossing accounts where it's just like scenic pictures of Animal Crossing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's what I think would happen to Brewster. I don't know what they have planned for him or like any of the special characters we haven't really seen.
Hmm.
But, I think there's always room to bring them back
Oh,
in some
yeah.
way.
And I feel like it's such an outcry at this point. Like, there's no way they can't really bring him back. Like, with Pally and stuff, they're just obsolete. There's no reason to bring them back. As much as we like Pally and Pete and Phyllis, like, they probably won't bring any of them back for any reason besides maybe an event the way they brought Reese and Cyrus back.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I actually liked the little drama love triangle that they had going on.
Hmm.
But, it's like, what can you do? So, but with Brewster, he's like an extra character, but he's almost not, I don't want to say essential because he's not essential. And they got rid of quote unquote essential characters, but he's so loved by the community and there's like so much, I guess, merch of him and like, people may like the roost and the branding of the roost, like it's just such a powerful brand in the Animal Crossing community that it would
Hmm.
be really unwise of them not to bring him back.
Yeah, and overall, like anywhere you see online, he's the by far the most asked for character to return. Everybody
Definitely.
wants the coffee shop back.
Yeah, it was just like such a cute little place to hang out. And one thing I really loved about the coffee shop in New Leaf is you get to learn facts about, or like little facts about like how people like their coffee, or like, it was just like cute small little things like that add a little bit extra personality to the characters of your village or island.
Hmm.
And I hope they add more character again because our villagers are very flat right now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I I feel like they are okay in some
Yeah.
regards, and others I feel really fall flat. I'd say the jocks
Oh, are the
are
worst.
are unfortunate each and
Yeah.
every time, but like the cranky villagers I find very endearing.
Mm-hmm.
You get really nice like conversations with them. The peppy ones have really surprised me in this game.
See, I'm not actually a fan of, I don't like the new pop star gimmick. Like I used to like when they're like, "Oh, I'd love to be famous," or like, "Oh, they would like sprinkle it in the conversation, but I feel like the focus is like, "Oh, all pop stars have their own island, so I'm on my island." And, "Oh, when I'm a pop star, oh, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be when I'm a and like I feel like everything is about being a pop star, and I'm like I kind of wish when they were just like really soft, like little softies, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just a small little cute baby."
Yeah, I get you on that. And there's definitely a ton of that with the peppy ones, but every once in a while they surprise me with like a 10 dialogue bubble conversation
Mm.
where they
That's
just
true.
keep going about I don't even know what. Yeah, it takes some digging to get to some of the better dialogue, but I'd say like overall, like the conversations the villagers have with each other
Hmm.
are all fantastic.
Oh yeah, when they interact, those are my favorite for sure.
Hmm.
I just wish when they
Yeah.
talk to me, they would like give me that kind of attention that they give other villagers.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. They'll mention the other players.
Do you have a favorite interaction that you've ever had with any of the villagers or seen their conversations together?
Um, there are a lot. I'm trying to think of one specifically. Usually, I really like those conversations together. There's one where I think it's the cranky and the snooty personality. No, it's the cranky and the sisterly personalities. And they're just kind of like, friendly insulting each other like friends
Yeah.
tend to do. And they're talking about how this person's really scared of both of them, and they're arguing about who they're scared of, and they're calling each other names the whole time. And then they kind of both have the realization that it's maybe their behavior around each other that's scaring people
Oh,
away.
I think I had that one with my Uchi or my sisterly and my Cranky.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one. I think those are the personalities that get
Yeah,
together.
Muffy and Kabuki were talking to each other once and had a very similar conversation. I was like, that's actually really funny because they are both kind of scary looking too, so it fit.
Yeah, so they're pretty fun. But you mentioned something a little bit earlier about, how Reese and Cyrus returned with Harv's Island and
Hmm.
everything. For me, I think that's one of the biggest missed opportunities in the game
Oh,
from
yeah.
Nintendo. Because the big thing with that was like, yeah, you went and decorated this whole wedding venue and everything, but the cool part was actually being able to get those items
Hmm.
after earning the points and everything. And the missed opportunity was for me, obviously, just that it was wedding related. I don't think that's a really popular theme to go with for a lot of
Yeah.
people. And I think if they continue doing that, like maybe making it monthly would be awesome. Like knowing that we're going to get a new set of furniture to collect every month. There's going to
Mm,
be a villager or new special character rather visiting and being able to like get their poster all of a sudden and everything. But then, just overall, that's their opportunity to just flood us with items, like give us more and more things to collect because I
right.
think that's where a lot of the struggles are for people about like, 6 months in, you're like, oh, I've seen all of this furniture a million times now. I
Yeah.
I need some new things to collect.
Especially when you go to island tours and stuff like I'm sure you and I like go to different islands all the time to visit people because that's just like what we do a lot of in
Hmm.
general, but you kind of get the gist of like okay, everything is like if someone has a cottage core island, for example, they use the same furniture for everything and they use the same kind of tones for everything and the same customization because it has a very specific look. But then you go to any cottagecore island and they all look very similar, just like different layouts.
Hmm.
Whereas like if we had more variety of furniture, there could be like different types of cottagecore, which I feel like would be really I mean, obviously there's like fairy cottagecore and like rustic and vintage, but just having more furniture and combining like different furniture into the theme that is going on,
Hmm.
I feel like could be so much better with more furniture.
I'd say every piece like kind of just adds so much more to it. Like there's another layer each and every
Mm-hmm.
time that you add more items. So yeah, no, I totally get you for sure. Where it's just like we need a lot more stuff around for players to really enjoy the variety a lot
Yeah.
more coming into this next year. I think there was enough for the first year of Animal Crossing for me. I saw plenty of new things throughout the year and everything, but now that we've passed that year, I'm like running out of DIYs to collect, I'm running out of clothing to see, I'm running out of furniture to see. And so I just want that to be updated in general. Like I
Yeah.
want to see more stuff to collect in this next year just because I feel like I am kind of running what's currently there dry at the
Yeah.
moment.
I you know what else I kind of think is a missed opportunity, specifically with Cyrus and Reese,
Hmm.
is if they had their shop still.
Yeah.
Like we can still customize our own things, but if they were able to customize the furniture that we can't customize and you have to buy different versions of, I feel like that would have been an amazing addition because there are so many times where it's like I can paint my own chairs. Why can't I get this version of like the Rattan furniture? Like
Hmm.
I wanted the white set and the light brown set, but I only had like different colors of each piece, but they didn't necessarily match. It would be cool if we could use Cyrus and Reese for like bringing them furniture that we purchased and being like, "Hey, this isn't the color I want it. Can I spend my money or whatever to make have him do it overnight or something?" And it would be really cool and it'd be a nice way for people to catalog more stuff without having to wait forever, especially those who don't have online.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't mean to
know.
like go off, but I just was like thinking about Cyrus and Reese too, and I'm like, before I forget, let me just.
No, I'm glad you did because I think, I don't know if it was yesterday, the day before, sometime this past week, I was telling Nina the exact same thing. I was just like, if you bring Reese and Cyrus in, this is a way to be able to customize all that furniture that you can't customize. And then, like, I've kind of talked about Reese and Cyrus on Haken a little
Hmm.
bit. There was an episode very early on where people asked, like, who our favorite special characters were. And funny enough, I picked them, and it was mostly because like I really like retail, their shop like kind of stood for
Yeah.
anyways. Like it's a consignment shop, which is very unique. I guess you can't really do anything like that in New Horizons at all, where
Mm-mm.
trades are handled through this little shop where you could invite people over and say like, "Oh yeah, I've put some of the stuff you want for sale." And then this is a surefire way to get the bells that you want for it,
Oh
you know?
yeah, you know what? I have never even thought of that. Like I
Yeah,
never
like
really thought about that much, but you're totally right.
yeah, so, it's one way to just like simplify the whole trading aspect and the selling aspect with other people where you're just like, here is this really cool stuff that you asked for, and I want to make sure I don't get robbed.
Yeah.
Let me put it here. So, I feel like it would open up a lot of trades online even more than they already are,
Yeah.
because everybody's had that bad experience where you've just gotten cheated and
Yeah.
you don't quite get what you were trading for, and now you're out some bells or some items.
It's just a nice way to streamline it too. Like
Yeah.
people would start putting like, all right, here's the fence to retail. Just go straight to the fence, buy the thing,
Mhm.
and leave, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other aspect to them that I really like is that just like they're all about around refurbishing
Yeah.
things. I'm a very eco-minded person, and so I personally prefer to buy things used and yeah, or lightly used or whatever. And I like to have stuff like repurposed, refurbished, and that sort of thing. We have this really old couch in our place that's like
Hmm.
it's older than I am, essentially, and it still works really great. It was really torn up, the cushioning and everything, so we got it reupholstered. And so I really like that that's part of Reese and Cyrus's character.
Yeah.
Um,
Just kind of
so
like what
I
they
don't know.
stand for. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we want to
exactly.
help out and like find value in things that other people might have dismissed as well. So
Hmm.
it's like it's cute.
Yeah, so I like them in general, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of different characters could come back and still give us some really interesting furniture sets and everything. Like even if KK Slider, who's already in the game, but like say they had a month over at Harv's and you can go and get all of these really cool instruments that you couldn't get before.
Oh, that would be neat.
Tom Nook. Just imagine what type of furniture he would give us if he had a month dedicated to him. But I think there's just like a lot of opportunity there to like kind of show us a lot more of the characters through their personalities and
Hmm.
their furniture and everything, like just the
Yeah.
items that we would get there.
I kind of, if Nook had a chance to have his own event, I would hope they would bring the Pocket Camp money bath that Nook was
Mm,
in
yeah.
when you
Yeah,
bought
where he's
tickets or
floating in
whatever.
the leaf tickets.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd put that tub in my bathroom.
Oh yeah, because you could put it with the money flooring too, and the because there's that
Hmm.
floor that's just like covered in money.
And okay, this is another thing that I want because you're totally reminding me. The money floor is the only item in the game that needs money to craft.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I personally like I feel like the crafting system in Animal Crossing New Horizons is like very basic
Mm,
fundamentally, where a lot of the things are crafted with the same
stuff.
materials. And, there are a lot of unique seasonal materials and everything, and I think that's great. But just like other things that I feel we could make slash customize with, like the customization kits really simplify the customization. And I feel like it's kind of oversimplified in a way where,
Yeah.
as an example, like a flower pot. I would love if we could customize the flower pot's flower with like actually getting one of the buds from our flowers, like picking specifically which flower goes in this pot, and then also customizing what color the pot is and everything.
That would be so cute. Kind of like the stands. You can like pick or the stalls rather. You can pick
Mhm.
like the design you have, but also the color of the wood. So if
Yeah.
they could do that with a pot where it's like you pick what flower you have by adding it in, and then the
Mhm.
color of the pot would work really nicely.
Yeah, I want things to just be like multi-layered in that aspect and really utilize more of, the environment that we have.
Yeah.
As of right now, I feel like if I want to customize something, I'm pretty limited to what color swatches are available, but it would be really cool if they went incredibly deep and were just like, yeah, if you have this flower, you can, I don't know, make dyes or something with the
Yeah.
flowers and create your own colors that you can make.
Kind of
um,
Minecraft style, where it's
yeah,
like you make
yeah.
your dye and then you customize. I feel like if we have a crafting system now, if they kept complicating it, even if it's not in this one, in the future Animal Crossing ones, and just like adding stuff, there's a reason why games like Minecraft or like games that have customization like that get modded by the community is because they just want more. I feel like
Hmm.
everybody always like wants more customization or more things to do. And I feel like with Animal Crossing, there's so much potential of where it can go. Nintendo just needs to like kind of realize that, I think. I mean, I think they get it. I think they know and they're aware, but I feel like once they can keep pushing out either updates or getting
Hmm.
ideas like that, it would be really really cool. Something that happened in Dragon Quest Builders 2. I don't know if you've ever played that game on the Switch.
I haven't, but I've been interested
It's
in it.
it's such a good game, and I highly recommend it if you like crafting. They had a story mode, obviously, because it's a Dragon Quest game. But once you beat the story, you get your own island and you can decorate it. But the cool thing about it is when you put certain stuff in a room, it becomes that room, and the NPCs will use it as that room. So, for an
Mm.
example, if you have like a fire and a stove or whatever, it becomes a kitchen or a simple kitchen. And when you add a new table to it, it's a cafe. And then every time you add stuff to that room, it gets a little bit more complicated. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, a simple cafe with a blah 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 blah, and the NPCs will go and start cooking in there, and they'll make you food or whatever. But it would be really cool if you could like set designated areas outside, and if you had a certain amount or a certain type of furniture, kind of like when you built the first three houses in Animal Crossing, how you have to have certain
Yeah.
furniture within a certain block. It would be cool
Hmm.
if you had a certain amount of items within a certain block, it would create it as a cafe, and like the villagers would tend to go over there or like pull out coffee and drink it, or like go behind the stand and start pushing on the register, or like sit next to the tables and they'll use it more. I feel like
Yeah.
something like that, which it can't be too hard to do if they've done it to a huge extent in other games, would just add like so much stuff to the game. And I feel like, even if it's like in a far, far new Animal Crossing game 10 years from now, it would just be like something really unique and extraordinary. And I think that's something that I would like love to see. And I just think about it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I think the thing that we run into there is it's hard to know what their intention is, like what kind of game they want it to be at
Yeah.
times. And so sometimes with ideas like that, I'm like, please give us Happy Home Designer 2.
Yeah.
That would just be the perfect way to give us that aspect to it. Because some people, especially with like, the 3DS was pretty limited in what it could do. But with the Switch, I feel like this is the game where they're like Animal Crossing town builder,
Yeah.
essentially. Like you could build your own town, you could grow it, choose a ton of villagers to live there and everything, decorate their houses, all that sort of thing. So to some extent, I want it like that. But to another, this is one of my ideas that I'd really love to happen. But I want resident services to just upgrade and then introduce Lottie and Digby as your HHA team.
Oh,
And
that'd be
then,
so cool.
yeah, and then we could go to their offices, their desks, and be like, hey, we want to work on the island a bit. I think they should have like both commercial infrastructure as well as like residential infrastructure
Hmm.
options where it's like, now you can much better design the exterior of your homes, especially like the limited exterior options that we
Yeah.
have, and that they're limited to the biggest size house. Like right now, I have 3 homes on my island that aren't fully
And
upgraded.
the only thing different is the roof.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I want to change what the outside looks like. I don't want to be
Yeah.
limited to just these options while my houses are this small. And I feel like, having the Happy Home Association there, Happy Home Academy there would give us that option. But on
Right.
top of that, like I want expanded room size options. I don't want the biggest room in my main room. I want it to just be a little small hallway that takes me to bigger rooms around my house, you know?
Like a little, almost like a little lobby.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that would be really fun to do. And then the residential option would be give us some more control over how our villager homes are decorated, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe they're dropping hints around town and they're like, "Oh yeah, I kind of want to change up my style and be more like this. This is kind of my dream right now." And then you're like, "Oh cool, we can make that happen." You know?
Yeah, and you can go in and no, that would be actually really helpful for people who have dreamy starter villagers and don't want to lose
Hmm.
them, but they still have the basic beginner furniture.
Yeah.
Because that was one of, I think, like I had Flo as my like first character ever. I never had Flo before, and I didn't care about her, and I had planned on kicking her. She was my longest staying resident for a very long time because I ended up just like loving her as a character and I didn't want to let her go. But if she could upgrade her house or change her house, because I had given her so much furniture and she just wouldn't replace her stupid block bed, even though I gave her like imperial beds and like all these other beautiful beds to give her, she just like would not replace it. It would be like
Yeah.
nice. So I ended up letting her go. I was like, you know what, like your house is garbage. I'm sorry, but like I can always bring you back maybe. But it's like if you had the happy home style thing, like you go to the HHA and say, "Hey, I want to help so and so out with their house." I mean, they have you change their catchphrase. Why wouldn't they go to you for advice for interior design?
The point too about the beginner houses being very basic and not really moving beyond that, I feel like Nintendo was onto something with this idea where they're like, all your villagers, when you move in, they're also in tents. They have to upgrade their places just like you. But then it just like fell short after that first upgrade. They
Yeah.
upgrade once and then it never really happens again. And I'm just like, my villagers live in these little tiny houses. Look at me, rich and booming here, and my house has gotten bigger and bigger. Like, how cool would it be if they got their own extra rooms and stuff, an extra bedroom? Because I feel like that even opens it up more to you being having a little bit more freedom with their design, where it's just like their houses have gotten bigger, they have more rooms to design and everything. But yeah, I just feel like you get as a player get a big sense of progression with yourself and your own, achievements and everything, but I feel like that's not shared with the villagers as much.
You know what would be kind of funny? You know how you talked about how you don't use bells for crafting?
Hmm.
I feel like it would be really fun and really cool if you could gift bells to your villagers and then their houses would upgrade.
Yeah,
Like that
that
would
would
be a
be
good way
great.
to spend your money because once you buy everything you want, it's like, what do I do with all this money that I got from the turnip market?
Have you gifted money to
I
villagers?
have not. I haven't actually
They
tried.
they give it right back to you.
Wait, really?
Yeah, yeah. If you try to give them a bunch of bells, like a big stack of bells, they're just like, "Oh no, I can't take this." And they will hand it back. I don't know if you can gift them anything after that or if that just counts as your gift, but
Oh,
yeah,
weird.
basically They don't accept it.
Do you know if it adds or subtracts from their friendship points?
I have no idea.
I would be interested to know because it's like if you wanted to get on someone's bad side, you just try giving them money every day.
They're like, I can't use this. I literally can't upgrade my home. It's worthless for me.
Well, that would be a good way to like give them money for a reason. Be like, oh, it's for your house, or like, oh, whatever. And then they'd be like, yo, I'll put this toward my loan. Oh, I'm at whatever amount left.
Hmm.
And even if it was only like one single upgrade, or like, if the villagers talked about having a preference, like, oh, I like my cozy home the way it is. And then if you try to give them money, they're like, no, 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 no. Obviously, like Snooties, I feel like would really love to have a bigger house. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. Or Smugs and
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's so much opportunity there with like just how you could interact with them too, like just expanding that. I would love it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I guess, year one, I feel like after a while, I got a good idea of what the updates were going to be,
Mm-hmm.
especially like near the end of the year, where, I think people tend to really want a lot out of the updates.
Right.
And I think that's fine. That's normal. I'm fine with it. But like after we saw the Halloween update and kind of the Thanksgiving one, I was like, oh, okay, so all of this season is just going to be focused around the holidays. Like I think it's busy enough that they
Yeah.
don't feel a huge need to really expand it. So I would expect more of that. I guess the updates that really add more things to do slash more characters to happen kind of during the summer because
Mm-hmm.
that tends to be the very empty part of the game.
Yeah, besides like fishing tournaments and bug tournaments.
Yeah, which, right now is not a big deal for me because I have all the bugs, I have all the fish.
Right.
Now have all of the badges associated with the bugs and fish, at least like, doing all the tournaments and stuff. So I guess with that in mind, I want to see the museum expanded in the sense of like now there's all these new bugs for this year, there's new fish for this year, maybe even new fossils and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, a lot of the new stuff, there's an opportunity in the summer to really add those.
Yeah, I feel like if we had like some kind of event besides like the holiday events.
Hmm.
I remember like the Cyrus and Reese event was such a surprise and like out of left field that I feel
Hmm.
like a lot of people got excited for it because they're like, oh, it's something to do on
Yeah.
Harv's Island. It's also something that gets you furniture, even if it's wedding furniture. And it's
Hmm.
something really unique. And I'm wondering, like, it would just be nice if obviously more holidays, like if they brought back, or not brought back, but if they brought like Valentine's Day and
Uh-huh.
White Day, just like little small holidays that are well known enough to fill out the months that don't really. Because I don't think February has anything. Pave comes in March, right?
It's either February or March. I think it's around where Mardi Gras actually starts, or Fat
Yeah.
Tuesday. It's usually around that day.
Okay.
So I don't know what day exactly that is this year. I think it's
Yeah.
February though.
Okay. Well, that's probably why they announced him for so early. Because I was like, oh, that seems kind of early to announce Pave, but for some reason in my mind it was like always in March, not February.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be a lot earlier this year, February 16th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really ranges. I don't know if anybody knows kind of like the religious calendar, specifically like Catholic or
Yeah.
anything. But it falls on Fat Tuesday, which is the beginning of Lent.
Hmm.
And then, after Lent is
Easter.
Easter. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's based around that essential calendar.
I wonder if they would change it because, like, obviously they made Christmas into Toy Day, and like, they're
Mhm.
kind of wording thing. They have Turkey Day now instead of Thanksgiving. Like,
Yeah.
they kind of are wording it in a way. So I wouldn't be surprised if like Festivale just became its day that's always the same day instead
Hmm.
of it changing from year to year. I feel like that would make more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Is Turkey Day technically a set day, or is that the Thursday that it usually
It
would be?
it's the fourth Thursday of November,
Okay.
so it does keep up with, like, the calendar date of Thanksgiving in the United States, because it
Mm.
does change in Canada, for example. But, yeah, I think it'll probably still fall around that same day, but just, like, keep a different name so it doesn't really retain that association, you know? But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Reese and Cyrus holiday thing, because that update was the one that was kind of filled with a bunch of unique events where you had the International Museum Day and the May Day event, both completely new things that we didn't really get. And I agree with you. Like, I want to see, like, now that we've gotten a year with all of the major holidays, I think this is the one to really fill in some of the stuff that was missing throughout the year.
Yeah.
Um, the first one that stands out to me is April 1st, April Fool's Day. It wasn't mentioned at all, you know?
Because what was her name? Blanca?
Yeah, Blanca.
I kind of miss her. Like, I liked her shtick in GameCube. And then
Mhm,
at first, I didn't like when they changed her to, like, this prankster. I thought it was kind of weird because she came off as this, like, really elegant, snooty cat in the
mhm.
GameCube where it's just like, oh, I just have this weird thing where I just don't have a face.
Yeah.
But you should draw it and make it look really good. She turned into kind of this, like, clown in a way, like, which I thought was very unfitting, but it kind of grew on me. So I wouldn't mind having her back.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, I feel like there's just a bunch of holidays that are on different Animal Crossing calendars that they kinda skipped over, and
Yeah.
I'm totally for them just, like, filling out the calendar a little bit more each year, you
Even if they
know?
made up new holidays, like,
Mhm. They've done that in the past. Wild World had a bunch of made up holidays and everything that work.
or bring back NPCs but give them an event like Katie. Where's Katie? What happened to her? Katie was so underused in New Leaf because you didn't visit people as often, I felt, in New Leaf because it was like a little bit more
Mhm,
complicated and it took longer. New Horizons has such a good travel. I mean, it's long. It takes long to get through the dialogue. It takes long to fly in, but people visit so much more often other towns and you can have so many people. Having Katie back. So for those that don't know who Katie is, she was this little cat, and she was
mhm.
traveling, and she would go to your town and say, "Hey, like I want to go to somewhere new," and you would like bring her to a friend's town or something like that. And like I never like did anything with her because I was like, when am I gonna find time to get somebody to bring out their 3DS? Sit next to me and like bring Katie to her thing. And I don't know if she gave you something. It's been so long, but it was like kind of like a fun little thing to do. You'd see her around your town. You'd be like, oh, Katie's here. Let's go bring her somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, she had her own little set of rewards that you would get if you did take her to another town.
Yeah.
I think one was, like, the digital photo frame.
Yeah, and you could get her picture and stuff too, right?
Yeah, a digital photo frame in this would be really cute, like, being able to customize the photos that you get to see in that.
This is super outreaching and it would never happen, but wouldn't it be cute if you had a digital photo frame that would go into your photo library and from your Switch and like put them in the game?
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. That'd be so
I would
good.
love that.
Even if it was like
Yeah.
from other video games, like from Zelda or something, it would be really funny to see it. Like you're like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, there's my Breath of the Wild, me getting blown up picture.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Zelda too, because I'm completely forgetting that, like, we're gonna get our first set of, like, Nintendo-themed items
On
with
March
the
10th.
Mario stuff coming for
Yeah.
35th anniversary of Mario and everything,
Oh,
so
if they bring back the Master Sword, I'm totally making the Lost Woods somewhere on my island, and I'm putting the sword in the middle of it.
yeah, that's one thing I'm really wondering though. Like, are they going to restrict it to Mario? Is Zelda going to be included in that? I know a lot of people really want Nintendo items and stuff. This is a topic that's I've been torn about. Back when New Leaf was at its height, I was going to like San Diego Comic Con every year,
Hmm.
and my Happy Home showcase in the northern part of my town, it would get completely full every single day, but every single house I went into would have a Nintendo themed room, and I just got
Yeah,
really over it.
that's fair.
So, to some extent, I'm just like, good riddance, and then to another, I'm like, does this mean you'll bring the Amiibo villagers back that were, like, Splatoon themed, Zelda themed?
Those were so cute.
Yeah, yeah, I think there are a lot of really cool characters with that, and funny enough, there isn't, like, a Mario themed. character.
Oh yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wonder what they're gonna do. Like if they're going to make a little Yoshi villager or something. I would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the items, I think they'll be very welcome, but I am really interested to see, are we going to be limited at this point? Like, is
Yeah.
it just Mario, or are you gonna give us something else? Who knows? Um,
Is there anything else that you want to add?
I think that's good. I think we we went through a
We
lot
did
of
go through. I mean,
what
we
I'm
can always
hoping
have
for.
other conversations in the future, but it's just
Yeah.
it was a lot. We had a lot of fun things to just vent about, so I'm glad we got to have our little convo.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. We've been wanting to do this for so
I
long.
know. So for those that don't know, I wanted Chewy back to be on this like for Turkey Day, and I completely just dropped the ball. So
Yeah, I did too, though. I forgot to mention
it's
it.
all good. We'll have you back in the future. Maybe next Turkey Day. I'm just kidding. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully sooner than that, but
Yeah. And with a bunch of updates around the corner here, we can just hope that some of this stuff will happen eventually.
yeah. For those that don't know, you can find Chewy on YouTube again and Twitch and Twitter. Here's the links are all going to be down below. Make sure you support and check out his channels because Chewy is wonderful and he's just a great dude. So
Yeah, and thanks again for having me.
I'll see you around on wherever.
Yay.
Bye.